Would you rather the Lions take a defensive end in the first round or take the best player available? Would you rather a defensive end or best player available, no matter which position that player plays?
Defensive end. To me, it's not close. I think I take a defensive end because you have to make sure that side of the ball gets better. You talk about the guys banged up for that defensive line for the Lions, Lee McNeil, DJ Reader, also talking about your big guy, Aiden Hutchinson. I think it's important to get a defensive end in this draft in the first round. This is a heavily stacked class as it relates to the defensive end and interior D-line. I say take a defensive end. Like, I don't need an offensive lineman at the first round pick. I don't need a wide receiver. I don't need a DB. I need a D-line guy.
I second that. You've got to take defense. Matter of fact, I think I would take defense with every single pick that I have. Maybe I'll buy a Christian Mahogany late in the draft. I'm not touching safeties. I'm not touching cornerbacks. I'm not doing that. Maybe a linebacker, offensive lineman, a little bit later in the draft, defensive end, defensive line, all day long.
Ricky, would you rather defensive end or best player available?
Add me to that list of defensive end because that's what we all been asking for. That's what we all want. That's what we all feel as though we need. And we should listen to the fans. Think we know what we're talking about. I want defensive end.
The other thing that I say about just defensive end is just because if you take any other position, then that means you don't see it as I see it. Look, I don't have to be perfect. I'm wrong. I make a lot of mistakes. But I know one thing the Lions need, and it is the defensive end. It is the defensive line. That is the most important. If they don't go for a defensive line or defensive end, what the hell are you looking at? Then I will be worried. So that's why I want defensive end or defensive lineman.
Pete?
It's got to be depth, man. You need depth. Defensive line, O-line. I would definitely take the defensive lineman for depth because you got to win championships with defense. Just that plain and simple.
Okay, I'm going to go contrarian here. I'm going to say take the best player available.
Okay.
And I'll say take the best player available because if there is an offensive lineman there that is higher ranked than the defensive end that you have, you've got to take him. Your identity is offensive line, your offense.
You're right.
And you are losing a lot of players. You're about to. You're going to lose Graham Glasgow. You're going to lose Frank Ragnow. Hell, Taylor Decker isn't getting any younger. If you can get a guy in the first round that you can have an extra year of eligibility, I'm not saying if all things are equal, take a lineman over a defensive end. But if you have a lineman graded above a defensive end, I think you've got to take the best player available. We'll see what happens, but I'll be contrarian there. I want to give Jared Sayers a shout-out, $10 in the chat. Ryan, glad you're back. As for your daily GVSU update, Lady Lakers won last night.
They did.
68-61. We'll play Cal State Dominguez Hills for the Division II Women's B-Ball Championship tomorrow. Anchor up. Thanks, Jared,
Go
for that.
Lakers.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate it. Go Lakers. Absolutely.
Just on the flip side of what you said, your big thing is always now, not waiting for later, correct? It's the moves you make in free agency, it's the moves you make in the draft. If you're drafting a guy in the first round this year to put on the bench to wait, aren't we trying to strike while the iron's hot as it relates to the Super Bowl? Mm-hmm. So you got an offensive lineman that could potentially be a good offensive lineman next year, the year after that, the year after that. Meanwhile, there was a defensive player that could have helped you this year, that could have made a difference this year. That's kind of like my math on it. Offensive lineman waiting versus defensive guy that, you know.
Unless there's a Penei Sewell there, and he could start right away.
Oh, he won't be there when we pick.
Yeah, he's not going to be there either.
He's not going to be there.
He's not going to be there either. Totally understand that approach, no doubt.
But you were right before.
All right, here we go, guys. Next question. Would you rather the Lions trade up or trade picks for a player?
Ooh.
Who wants to go first? Maz?
Sure.
Go first.
I've said it. If Brad Holmes got a guy in his top 15 and he's sitting at 28 and let's say the Steelers come rolling around at 21, I'm trading up to get the player I want. I'm not going to trade down or out to get a player. Now, you mean a player meaning a free agent?
Player off somebody's roster.
Like a trade?
Yeah. We're gonna give you a a first and a second for or whatever for X player.
Yeah, it depends on who the player is, but I'll play it safe in this exercise. I'll say I want to trade up and get the guy I want. That's a kid coming out of college.
Yeah.
Bray?
Trade up, but not too far. Trade up for not. Yeah, I want to be contrarian like Ryan Ermanni, but I just wouldn't trade the picks for a player because I don't believe we have good picks to offer for a player. I think if you trade up, as long as you don't go too far where you're venturing off too much of your draft capital as well as your money, I'm good with that, man. Something in the realms of 15, 13. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Pete Spivak?
Very simple. F them picks. We are here to win a Super Bowl. We are here to win a championship. I don't want to hear anything about maturing players from here on out. I want the players that are going to help you win, and that's the end of the story. F them picks.
Ricky
Trade
Burns.
Nice.
I would like to say F them picks, but I need to know what player we're trading for. So I would rather go with the trade up on the draft, man. It depends on what player do I want to give up those picks.
Let's just, for argument's sake, say you could trade your first-round pick for Trey Hendrickson.
Okay.
Nah, yeah. See,
I would do that.
Like Cincinnati signs him and trades him.
I would do that then.
See what I'm saying? That makes.
Well,
that changes this.
That's the question, though.
Yeah.
That's
So
the
it's
question.
the best.
I'm talking about.
If it was illustrated that way, I would have just said trade.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Trade up for a player.
That's
Oh,
what
you-
I.
you
That's
got
why I
to.
said
You
what I
make your
said.
own trade.
So yeah, then
you
it's
got
F
it.
them
I
picks.
just
Then
made
it's
my
F
own
them picks in
trade.
that case. Yeah, see,
Wait.
that sells it right
You
there.
make your own trade. I just made
Good
one.
call. Good call.
Yeah.
Ryan?
It's a right now. Yeah, I mean, I'm trading for the player. If there's an established player out there on the trading block, I would absolutely trade that pick because I just don't think there's like if you go back to Aiden Hutchinson's rookie year, okay? Aiden Hutchinson's rookie year was not the productivity that Aiden Hutchinson in the first half of year number 3 is. So, again, if you're in a win now mentality, you need developed NFL talent. You don't need some rookie coming in there to help you out. I mean,
But Aiden still had 10.5 sacks and 4 interceptions.
there you go.
Give somebody 10.5 sacks. Give the opposite side of Aiden last year 10.5 sacks.
Perhaps
and 4
nobody more critical of Aiden Hutchinson than you, though, that first year.
Very true.
Yeah.
But you had Aiden Hutchinson, 10.5 sacks goes a long way. He had a lot of pressures. A lot of pressures go a long way when your defensive line has other players as well. So those 10.5 sacks, those 3 interceptions, I think it was 4.
If I'm getting a Pro Bowl guy on that, I'm trading the pick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, guys. Next question.
All right.
I like these next couple ones.
Okay.
If you're a Giants fan, a
Maz
New
goes
York
first.
Giants fan, would you rather win 9 games? And notice I do not define here. That could put you on the cusp of a wild card or not. We don't know. Would you rather win 9 games and maybe make a wild card, or lose 14 games and get the number 1 pick?
Ugh.
Think about these seasons. Maz is the resident Giants fan.
Yes, sir.
Would you rather win 9 games with let Russ cook, maybe make a wild card and
Yeah,
never see,
That sounds really nice.
or
No.
lose 14 games
I
and
wanted
go
to
through
lose.
another
I wanted to lose
disaster?
14 games last year,
Yeah.
and we did. I wanted to lose 15 games,
Do you want to do it again?
but they beat the Colts on the last game and made him the 3rd pick. Of course, I want to lose. I want to lose, and I want the next Manning
I want to lose.
to
I
take
wanna lose
over
now.
in New York, and that's Arch Manning. So I will take a 2-win season this year with frickin' Frack as my quarterbacks.
Bray?
Yeah, I would do the same. Arch Manning probably be number 1 pick overall next year. His uncle played there as well, won 2 Super Bowls. And Eli Manning, it just makes sense. I would much rather do that than dance and do what, potentially win 9 games. And now I'm picking 11th or 9th. It just sucks. Like if I'm the Giants, I don't care. There's too much going on in New York anyway. Give me the number 1 pick next year. Give me Arch Manning. Make the story complete.
Ricky?
I'll take the 9 games for the wild card.
Maybe make a wild card.
Maybe make a wild card. I'd rather do that, man. I don't know about having a rookie quarterback to then build my team around. I just feel like that hasn't worked lately.
But then at what point do you get
Commanders.
your quarterback?
I gotta worry about that later. I don't know.
But the Giants have been worrying about that later for the last.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. But I'm still, besides Jayden Daniels, I haven't seen you be able to. Well, they haven't really built a team. They had that one season, but I just don't see him being able to then, leverage their entire franchise on a rookie.
Pete Spivak.
Fair enough.
Tell you what, guys, exact opposite position of the Lions here. I want to see a nice, good old-fashioned NBA throw away your season. Let's tank away. Let's get the pick. You got a deep quarterback draft coming up next season. You actually have some very good offensive lineman draft picks coming up next draft as well. I say tank the season, take the 14 losses. The NFL, if you do it correctly, you should be winning every 4 years. This is like a 4-year rotation. So Let's start the 4-year rotation. You're number 1.
I got the answer. I hate throwing away seasons.
Yeah.
Hate it, but you've got to.
Yep.
I'd rather lose the 14 games or more. That way you get a new coach and a new general manager,
Which you should have had
especially
going
in New York.
That's right.
You'll get a quarterback, perhaps Arch Manning, perhaps somebody else. You never know who is going to come onto the scene this year. Maybe Arch is the guy, maybe Arch isn't. We don't know, but you'll get
I know Russell Wilson ain't it.
the top player. And how about this for a kicker? Here's the kicker, as Tom Mazur would say. After UNC wins 8 games this year, how about Bill Belichick to the Giants to get that organization back to have a little bit of a culture of winning, and to have Manning and Belichick take over in New York? What about that?
Didn't Belichick? Oh no, it was the Bills. Then he started with Buffalo, didn't he?
No,
He started with the Giants.
Started with Giants.
One
Okay,
Super Bowl with
yeah,
the Giants as
yeah,
their
yeah.
defensive
Right,
coordinator.
I love
Yeah.
what I
I
love
like that.
what you're laying down.
Yep.
That would be a dream scenario.
Yeah.
But I would not let him do anything with the draft. Bill Belichick's not allowed to draft. I would need a very good general manager
right.
to join him.
That's right. There's
That's
no
what I
doubt,
want.
and there will be.
But I want him to coach my team